You're listening to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast.
Go for it, Jim. Climb the ladder, kid. Make yourself famous.
A podcast covering all things WWE.
I have now returned to save the WWE.
NXT.
The beautiful part of NXT is that when one dream ends, another dream begins.
And AEW.
Holy wrestling. I couldn't be more happy.
Here are your hosts, Kyle Gagliardi and Jim Tucker.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, hosted by the Marks, for the Marks. I'm your host, Kyle Gagliardi, and as always, I am joined by my good friend, Jim Tucker. Tuck, how we doing?
What's going on, man? It's been a while, but we're back.
What's a while for us? A little over a week?
Yeah.
Last time we had Ryan Vogus.
A blink in regards to Wheelhouse baseball time. But
Yeah, it's very true. Wheelhouse.
Yeah.
When was the last time you guys recorded?
about August, about a month ago.
It's a summer vacation. I guess
Yeah,
we'll call it.
we'll make another episode sometime.
Yeah, that's fine. What else you been up to, Tuck? You might as well tell the listeners what you've been up to.
Well, I went to All Out. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Been coaching 2 teams, teaching. So life is good, but I'm still managing to make the time to watch the wrestling and get over here. So
Did you catch up on all this week's content?
except NXT.
That's when's the last time you watched NXT? I feel like you've skipped on missed the last couple.
It's been a while.
Hey, all that matters is you watch every one of the takeovers. 'Cause
Yes.
those are always the really good
Yes,
ones.
no
But,
doubt.
You know, speaking of Wheelhouse, we are a part of the Overtime Sports Network.
We
You
are.
wanna tell the listeners a little bit about that?
The Overtime Sports Network is a conglomerate, a amalgamation of blogs and podcasts.
That's a big word.
We just added another podcast, the Rust Belt Rivals. I'm excited
Yeah.
to hear Nick Angelo. He does great work. But we cover every corner of the sports world, from wiffle ball to pro wrestling, golf, soccer. We cover everything with blogs and podcasts. Go to otsportsnetwork.com and on Twitter @_OTSN. Give us a shout. Give us a follow. And we're always looking for new contributors. So we're always welcome to scratch that itch if you have it, and help too. So for me, joining the Overtime Sports Network, I didn't know what I was doing, but when I joined the network, I had a bunch of people that would help me out. So that was nice too. So even if you just feel creative
Right.
and you don't have a clue, some of us now do, and will help. So
And we are probably the right guys to talk to, me and you, heavily involved
Yes.
in OTSN, me
Yeah.
being the president/founder as I watch the Cardinals ruin my parlay here in the background. Yeah, insert sad sound effect right there. But yeah, Overtime Sports Network. I want to give a shout out to Mikey Wilson, probably a future special guest on this show. Actually,
gonna have
definitely
to be.
definitely a special guest. He's actually doing Book It Better YouTube videos now on the Overtime Sports Network, where he recaps, grades Raw and SmackDown every week. So you're obviously a wrestling fan if you're listening to this right now. So make sure you check that out as well.
Yeah, he's a good dude, a good contributor, and he's watched just as long, if not longer. I don't know that he's seen every single show like you and Vogus have for such a stretch, but
Has he dove into AEW yet?
I don't
Or is
know.
he just
I don't think so.
strictly WWE right now?
Probably just WWE. I don't think he wants to pay.
Which, yeah, I mean, that's understandable. Those AEW pay-per-views are $50, but
Yeah,
you know, me being the mark that I am, I've purchased Double or Nothing. I purchased All Out for myself.
and now once we hit the ground running, if they're still going to go at 50 a pop, you get 5-8 guys together.
I'm sure eventually Micah will get into AEW. We're going to be talking about it, just like we're going to talk about it right now. You were in
Yes.
attendance for AEW's All Out. You know, they went back to the Sears Center after going there last year for All In. You know, what was this experience like? You know, being there in person. This is a new atmosphere because AEW fans are a little different than WWE fans. So what was it like? Where were you sitting? You know, what was the atmosphere in the Sears Center like for All Out?
So we were joined. I was able to ride with Ryan Vogus on the way up there, and Mez, and I had a seat by myself. They bought 3 tickets, and the one seat was by itself. So I
That
knew
would've been me.
I knew I wasn't going to sit by anybody, but I lucked out. I sat next to a girl who I think brought her boyfriend and was telling him about AEW, and a guy that just said, "Oh damn!" like 400 times that
Yeah.
night. Like he was just there to have fun, and they were both not overweight.
So that's always a plus, and that's always rare, too. At
Didn't feel like I was in the middle seat of an airplane between two biggins, and
that's good.
It was nice. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I've watched AEW. I watched All In and Double or Nothing, but my fandom didn't really extend beyond that. But, man, I felt like the crowd, everybody there, were very well educated on everybody that popped in. Yeah, they knew a lot of the names. They got a lot of the gimmicks or tricks that were pulled out throughout the appearances that I didn't really know. I wasn't too familiar with, and it was interesting not being able to hear the commentary and have that bring to light. So I was on the lower level. I had a good seat. I was like 16th row.
Parallel to the entranceway, right?
Yes. So when they walked out, when the wrestlers walked out, I was to their right. So it made it a little tough to see the side Titantrons in the video packages, but it was a good seat. I was in the action. I don't think there's a bad seat in that place. So much like the Allstate, I think all the seats are good. And it was fun for me to get to know everybody, more of the wrestlers, and learn and just hear a lot of people and their comments that I wouldn't know previously. But the show was good.
Yeah,
I was very entertained. I don't know.
How much was that ticket, by the way? $50?
I had to pay $50, but the face value was like $94. So
I didn't know it was going.
It was like
a
$100 ticket. Yeah.
Okay, well that ain't bad at all. Then.
So I got a deal, and it was worth it. I don't know if I would have paid $100 for that seat. Even one section over would have been nicer to get the view of the videos.
Yeah. But
I did miss some things, on the way back on Twitter. I didn't know Darby Allin had thumbtacks on the bottom of that skateboard.
Right.
So it made the reaction from Joey Janela a little. I'm like, it was just a skateboard. Why is he dying?
Right.
Like, the guy's dead, and I feel like the skateboard would help.
Yeah.
He's not getting kicked by the 2 feet. And so I did miss some of that stuff. It was a little bit tough to see the scrums when they got outside the ring, but I thought the production was good. I'm a huge fan of the pyro. And
I know who's not a big fan of the pyros. Pharaoh.
Oh.
Cody Rhodes' dog.
Tail between its legs.
How about that, man? People are making a big deal about that. They're like pissed at Cody. Like, why would you bring a dog out there? Which I kind of understand it a little bit.
I could see why he would want to do it.
Right.
But being dog guys, #dog guys.
Confirmed.
I could also see how it would be a terrible idea. And a number of people said yes to let that happen. And Pharaoh was not having it, but didn't poop anywhere.
That's a positive.
That. And much like when Adam Page brought the horse out, I was like, this is a great idea. But if this guy goes number 2 here, I was on the opposite side. So,
well, that's good. Then you probably wouldn't have smelled that shit. Literally.
Right. Literally. I would. Yeah. But it was nice. It was.
Yeah.
I don't know how much story they set up going into the TV. I don't know.
I feel like that's tough to do on a pay-per-view, though. It's not a weekly show. You can't actually build.
And they still have time through Twitter and social media to start pushing some of these things. But let's talk about some of the matches.
Yeah, for sure. One I want to start off with, I really don't want to talk about the Battle Royal because me personally, I don't know how you were live in attendance. It didn't do it for me.
It's
it was
too much.
Too sloppy.
I like that they're trying to make it different and send out these waves of people. But
when casino edition with the cards and all
when you send out 5 people at a time, you automatically get 5 more feuds, or there's a lot more stuff to watch. It's hard to portion out a little bit more. So I didn't know all the girls that popped in. I didn't understand the big pop with some of them not being so connected to the other promotions that the ladies were from, but it was okay.
Yeah, and that's the one thing, too, about, everybody coming in 5 at a time. It kind of takes away from the spotlight on these superstars because, certain people are going to get bigger pops.
Yep.
But when you're coming out in groups of 5, you're like, oh, who's that? Who's over there? Oh, I'm excited that she's here, but...
Yep.
Who are you excited
and
for?
he did. They were announcing, but the sound in the Sears Center was not great. Good. It was go to the stage
like in a bingo hall.
Yeah, I'm like, so I couldn't hear a ton anyways. But it was okay.
Yeah, Nyla Rose won.
Shocker.
Not really happy about it, but what are you going to do? You can't be happy about everything on the card, that's for sure. But one thing I was happy with this is the first time I ever saw a private party, and I'm sure this is probably your first time seeing them in action too. I thought they really stood out against Jack Evans and Angelico here. That was First time seeing all 4 of those guys go, but Private Party were doing very innovative moves. They were engaging in the crowd, a lot of high spots in this match. And honestly, I would love to see these guys maybe, in the tag team championship matchup because they're going to have a tournament for these tag titles.
The tag division in AEW is going to be
It's loaded.
Bonkers.
Right.
Yeah. Even the under push, Private Party was not someone I thought of right away when we thought about tag teams.
Same.
But if that's some of their lower guys and that's how they're going to wrestle.
I also noticed on Twitter because I wasn't there like you. I wasn't as fortunate, but I was tweeting along with people, and they were like, "Oh, the Private Party, they're just another version of the Street Profits." Well, Private Party was a tag team before the Street Profits even touched TV. So,
right.
If you're really going to put any comparisons here,
I think it's backwards.
But both teams are different. You could tell, and I think Private Party definitely has a really good future. They picked up the win here in this match.
Yep.
Overall, one of the better matches on the card, I would say.
And for it being the buy-in and for it being the pre-show, everyone was in their seat.
Yeah.
It was packed. And I snuck out towards the end of the Battle Royal because I was like, all right,
yeah,
the big one's probably going to win.
Yeah.
So I went and got merch. Had a private bathroom.
Oh, what merch did you get? I never even saw anything.
I just got I got one of the All Out T-shirts. It says All Out, and then it's got the Sears Center on the front, and then on the back it says I was there. I didn't know it was on the back when I bought it. But
usually they have like the card on the back. Did they have the card or no?
No,
just
they did. They had like 5 different All Out shirts. They had the ones with all the guys on the front. That was my second choice. I wanted the one with all of the big wrestlers on the front, and it said All Out.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
they didn't
about.
have my size at that booth, but apparently they had 4 merch tables this time, which they had more than the first at All In.
They were more prepared.
They were very, very prepared, and $8 for a bottle of Coke ain't gonna cut it. But
yeah, that's always going to be the prices when you go to these events. That's for sure. But speaking of merch, I actually saw that Luchasaurus pulled the best merch numbers this past weekend.
Really?
After All Out, yes. I guess we could call this, pun intended, a stunt, a gimmick with Jungle Boy and Marco Stunt. This is highly entertaining stuff right here.
I like it because I was interested to see how Marco Stunt was going to fit in to the gimmick because he's just this little wild guy.
Yeah.
And it works. It works. It was a good match. He is remarkably smaller than whatever you could imagine. Every time you don't see him and then you see him in a ring, you're like, he really is that small.
Take the average Joe and then knock him down about 40 pounds and less muscle.
Look at that dude's younger brother, right? But they showed well, and for them not working together for a long time, like SCU,
that's what they're perfect in, that role right there. SCU putting younger talent over. They're always going to have a consistently good match, and this 6-man action was really good. And I thought Luchasaurus was the one that shined the most. He was doing moves for a guy his size that you see cruiserweights do on 205 Live.
Very athletic. Yep, yeah. Very athletic. I was impressed. Jungle Boy looked good. The spot, I think they used Marco Stunt wisely.
Yes. You don't want to overdo that.
Letting Jungle Boy carry the load. He's kind of the Super Mario of the group. And then you let Bowser come in. Well, I think Luchasaurus would probably be a little more athletic, but
true.
And then you have the Yoshi or something like that popping around, and it was nice. It was a good match. I thought they were going to win. I thought it was interesting that they let SCU win, but it worked. They're hot. The Jurassic Express, which is
it's there.
It's not the Viking Experience, so we'll still take it.
Yeah, very true. But yeah, I still think it means a lot that they lose this matchup, but people are talking about the Jurassic, experience here or whatever it's called, because that's what SCU will do. Even though they won this match, they're still going to put over other talent. They're going to showcase the other, 3 other guys very well, and that's exactly what happened in this match, and it worked well for all 6.
And their merch didn't get pushed like Luchasaurus's did.
That's very true.
Since in the time since, I didn't buy that. I got a Young Bucks shirt.
Oh, big Young Bucks guy, huh?
After that match, I went and...
Yeah, well, you might as well talk about that match then. Honestly, the AAA tag team titles were on the line here. I've been watching wrestling now for 8 years, I think it is. I can honestly say this was my favorite tag team match I ever saw.
I don't have nearly the experience live or behind a television watching pro wrestling as some others, but I was blown away.
I mean, when you put the whole death match, ladder match stipulation on it, you know it's going to be good. But these two teams, you could totally tell there's a reason. There's always a debate. Who's the best tag team in professional wrestling?
Mm-hmm.
Is it the Young Bucks? Is it the Lucha Bros? Or is it the Usos?
Yep.
I mean, it's hard to like describe how awesome that match was. So many spots. You know, the choreography in it was perfect.
Well, let me touch on that.
Yeah.
At the beginning, I was a little turned off when I was watching the match because it seemed like a line dance or a square dance. But as the match went on and sitting back, and since I'm glad we didn't record this so soon after, because I've come to appreciate how tight. Although I feel like those perfectly when one of each team is doing the same move to the other person of the other team, I feel like that's super scripted and that's not as organic that wouldn't really happen.
I gotta agree with you.
I came to appreciate how tight it was, that it's like they were hitting the rings and tables and spots at the exact same time. So in the time since watching, I've actually come to appreciate the choreography a little bit more. But at the beginning of the match, I'm like, if it's just going to be this the whole time, and thank God it wasn't.
Well, that's a big criticism with the Young Bucks. That's why some people that, are like anti-AEW don't like them, is because they have been criticized for having like these choreographed, matches where these spots you can tell are obviously planned out. And like you were, insinuating that spot where both, I forgot who was in the ring, but there was two tables set on the outside and they both looked at each other, one of the Lucha Bros and one of the Young Bucks, and they both dove and took out the other person. When you're in a fight, you obviously are going to want to stop the guy from diving onto your partner,
Yeah, but hey, don't do that.
Yeah, but
stop that.
Let's do it together and, mess up our other tag team partners.
Right.
Why not? But overall, a lot of high spots. I think the right team won. Lucha Bros retaining the AAA tag belts.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's smart. A lot of people didn't see that coming, including you were Team Lucha Bros here, weren't you, on our prediction?
I can't recall what I actually said, but I thought them winning this match would make sense for the Young Bucks to try to come back and get the actual AEW titles.
You got to assume that the Young Bucks are going to be in that tag team title match. Like,
or
face of the
they'll
tag
just
team
put them on
division.
the Jurassic Express. I don't know.
I guarantee it would be entertaining, that's for sure. But yeah, that's one of those matches that really stood out for me. As did the Cracker Barrel Clash.
Awesome.
Jimmy Havoc picking up what might be the surprising victory. I don't want to knock on wood or anything, but hey, your boy called this. I called Jimmy Havoc winning this match, and Vogus texted me right away. He goes, "Yep, you called that right there." But he defeated Darby Allin and Joey Janela. The thing that really stood out to me here was Darby's barrel bump spot on the stairs.
Awesome and loud. It
echoed through the arena.
Yeah, and it was like I don't care if it was an actual barrel. I know it wasn't, but it wasn't like this sturdy whiskey barrel. But like it crunched. It was a satisfying. The last spot they did with the second barrel, they kind of missed, and it was. But that Darby Allin, it was so great.
And this is basically what we expected with these three guys in this match, and it served its purpose on the card. People wanted chaos. People wanted just. The Cracker Barrel gimmick was involved here. Like, there were biscuits out there. I don't know if you noticed that when you were in attendance.
I did not notice that, and I thought they used the barrels wisely. And, the crowd's yelling Cracker Barrel. If I'm a Cracker Barrel exec, I'm like, okay.
You're getting the money hands going right there.
And it's, I didn't feel like it was over the top that they shoved it down our throats, but it was to incorporate a barrel into any other type of match would not really have made sense. But these dudes are stapling crap to their heads and shoving thumbtacks in each other's mouths.
Did you catch that Jimmy Havoc stapled himself before the match?
Yeah.
In the head, I think it was.
Yeah, he just whoosh.
Yeah, like, all right, get ready for this match. I'm going to staple my noggin real quick.
Yeah, I'm not. If I'm in the squared circle with him, I'm not feeling great about my chances.
No, and I think he was the right choice. I explained why on our previews. If you haven't listened to it, it was episode 2.
Yep.
I thought he wasn't as marketed on social media and all that, and he needed this win more than the other two guys. So him winning here, I thought that was the right move. I don't know what you thought about that.
It was a good match. Again, the Joey Janela sunset flip in the chair spot from where I was sitting, just seeing him hit that and smiling like a gymnast that hit the final pose was just a cherry on top. It was great.
It's sports entertainment right there in a nutshell. That's
like,
what that
I
is.
did it. I did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was great. It was a good spot. Very entertaining match. Yep.
Yeah, another very good match. Kenny Omega versus Pac. Pac, everybody knows, was the fill-in here for Jon Moxley. A very long match. I honestly was surprised on how long they went throughout this. Like, I was tweeting along with other people, and I'm like, we've been at this for about a half hour now. Like, it went to the exact time limit. They gave them 30 minutes here. Very solid, very textbook, what you expect from Kenny Omega and Pac, two veterans. But Pac goes over in this one, which to me was surprising. And he did it in an interesting way where Kenny didn't tap, but he passed out.
Yeah, it's perfect because now Kenny Omega's in a rut. He's gonna have to work his way out. And he didn't, technically get beat. He lost, but he
didn't quit.
Beat, right? So it still makes him look strong, but I do like that they're not letting every single star at the top of the roster be the ones that are going to get put. He's going to have to work for it, and he's going to have to work for his title. And if they're going to make the win-loss records count, he's got some work to do.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up. And AEW has stated wins and losses matter. This isn't like WWE where, oh, hey, I'm going to come out, cut a promo on you. I got a title match.
Yeah.
But if you're not winning matches, we're not going to give you. So they even tweeted out right after that, Kenny Omega's record. I think it was 1-2-1 or something like that. So, like you said, it's the climb back, but this makes Pac look extra strong too because now everybody knows he's all in with AEW. So
he looked good. I was not too familiar, but dude can wrestle.
I mean, his heel work, even at the end of his WWE career with the king of the cruiserweights, you could tell that he had this evil in him, and now he's finally starting to come out that he's back, on the independent scene, and now with AEW. So he gets the big win here. Very interesting decision.
His move was called like the Brutalizer or something like that?
I want to say, something along
those
lines.
I heard they tried to make it out to be this devastating thing. The fans around they weren't familiar with that kind of push. And then Kenny Omega passed out, and everyone was like, "Oh," that was the kind of feeling around me. And they're like, "I get it."
Well, submissions are kind of tough, especially if you're in a live crowd, and you see them bust out a submission you've never seen before. I remember the first time John Cena finished a match with an elbow, kind of like Chris Jericho's been doing with that back elbow lately.
The Judas effect. Yeah,
everybody was like, "What just happened?" But when you're debuting something like that, it's going to be tough for the live audience because you don't have the announcer saying, "Oh, he's got the Brutalizer locked in. This is a deadly maneuver," So
yeah. So because at first I'm like, "Hell, we've been going at it for this long." Now it's just going to be another slow build, but then he passed out, and I get it. It was a good match. I was indifferent to either of them. Again, being new to AEW, but I look forward to. I think they have a good string of matches ahead of them.
This is definitely something that's going to continue. That's definitely for sure. You could tell the way that they booked this. There's just something that's going to be a program on live TV for sure, and it might lead to another match. Oh, no, that won't lead to another match because I believe they made it official that Jon Moxley's facing Kenny Omega at Full Gear.
Yep.
So
agreed. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What they're going to do with Pac next, I guess we'll find out. But we know what's next for Rio. Rio defeated Shida to put herself in the very first AEW women's title match versus Nyla Rose. I mean, nothing too crazy in this one. Rio, very tiny girl, about 80 pounds, but she's pretty good. I like her. I want her to go over here.
Yeah, she is good at wrestling. The consensus in the crowd around me was the question of why did these two get a match and all the other 20 ladies had to fight for one spot?
Right.
And I think it's a fair question, but we'll see. It's super David and Goliath here. I don't know that a 90-pound woman's going to have any kind of strength enough to do that. So it'll be interesting to see how they book it.
And I honestly didn't know this until about a week ago that Nyla Rose was transgender. I don't know if you knew that. Is that breaking news to you?
I was about today. Now years old.
I did not know that, and I mean that doesn't affect the way I view a superstar because I honestly didn't like her work, in that battle royal or anything that I've seen. But you have her, this monster heel, going against this 90-pound. You could tell they wanted this match, and I kind of wonder, did they put Nyla Rose in this just because they want to make history by making the first ever AEW Women's Champion a transgender woman?
Yeah, could be.
I mean, it's a good PR move. I don't hate it, but does she deserve it over Riho? It's a very weird first women's champion,
We'll see how it goes, yeah.
So, yeah, jury's still out on that one for sure. But last two matches I want to talk about here, we had Cody going against Shawn Spears. A lot of people seem to like it. Also, a lot of criticism against it. I think a lot of the sideshow stuff that was going on with, Tully Blanchard and MJF and Arn Anderson, which delivered one hell of a spine buster. That was beautiful.
What a pop. What a pop. And I felt like everybody throughout the match was looking to see if he was going to pop out. Because it
was rumored.
And I'm glad. I thought it was actually pretty smart that they didn't have him come out from the front. Let Cody get his shine.
Yep.
Let the match go on. We do have Arn. Here's a separate moment. Bang. Nailed the spine buster. Rolled out.
See ya.
Tully just kind of left after that.
Yeah, I found that weird too. I noticed that.
It looked like he was trying to go find Arn to talk about it. I feel like he was trying to express that in the space and time he had.
Right.
But he just left.
And I think the other stuff too with like the backstage entrance with Brandy, MJF, DDP, Pharaoh. I like that. I mean, because it makes you think, oh, who's going to be out there with Cody?
Yep.
Go to find out it was MJF. They did a little tease at the end of it. I don't know if you noticed it live in the crowd that MJF might turn on Cody.
Yep.
He didn't. Everybody knows that, but
that was being yelled like, oh, so like
it's going to happen.
The girl next to me was giving me all of my info.
Do we know her name? Can we give her a shout out?
No, by me listening to her talk to her boyfriend. So,
oh, fair enough. She didn't know that you were getting that information.
I was creeping.
Then.
Thanks, lady.
Appreciate you. But yeah, overall, the match itself, nothing too spectacular in my personal opinion. I think it was meant to be on the card for all the other, side stuff that we were talking about there with Arn and all of that. But I personally was surprised Cody wins. But I don't hate it. I'm not gonna sit here and slander it. But it definitely wasn't one of my favorite matches. I would put it that way.
It was a firm match, in my opinion. A little sideshowy for me. The way that the ref was constantly riding MJF and making sure he was staying out of it, but I was okay with it.
The big question for me now, though, is where do you go with Shawn Spears? He just lost to Cody.
Yep.
He's supposed to be this big heel that you brought in, former WWE star. He has Tully Blanchard in his corner. What's next?
I hope they keep Tully with him and keep that pair together. From there, we'll have to see where it goes.
But we do know what's next for Cody. I don't know if you saw that. Did you? Is this an On the Mark podcast? Breaking news.
This is an On the Mark breaking news update.
But yeah, Cody's going to be facing Chris Jericho at Full Gear.
I did not know.
Confirmed. It's on Twitter.
Like today?
No, it was a couple days ago. Honestly, one of our followers on the Mark Pod, follow us on Twitter. That's a cheap plug right there. But yeah, he tweeted at us and he's like, yeah, because I said, what's next for Cody? And he's like, Chris Jericho. I go, what? I was like, this is news to me. But so Chris Jericho, if you didn't know, became the first ever AEW champion against Hangman Page here. Solid match, interesting choice. But overall thoughts, what was it like for you there live in the crowd?
The entrance was good. The match was good. I thought they had Hangman do some flippy stuff that didn't have to. The tight space around that ring makes me nervous a little bit. I wish it was a little more. Now, again, those wrestlers have been performing in tight spaces like that their whole careers. So when you compare it to the cavernous area that they have aside from WWE rings, I don't know. I thought both of them looked good.
I think you stated this off the podcast. Jericho looking a little more fit this time because he was a little doughy boy before that.
Yeah, he was a little doughy at Double or Nothing, I thought, and he's still got a little bit of room to improve. But he looked in better shape, less soft around the edges. It was a good match. I applaud AEW for still putting it on Jericho. You need a champ. You need a known champion. I get it.
And I think that's the main reason behind this.
And I don't think they give a shit that he was in WWE.
No, and
No,
I mean, most
you know.
people, and I'd probably say 99.9% of people know Chris Jericho is coming from WWE.
Yeah.
That really doesn't matter. That's the drawing point here.
Yep.
We're going live. We're a new company. Here's our champion that we're marketing, Chris Jericho, one of the greatest of all time. I mean, I said on our last show, I wanted Paige to win just so you could showcase a new talent, but this is another thing. Paige has plenty of years ahead of him. Jericho, we don't know. His time's got to be numbered here.
He can't have a ton. He doesn't have a ton of depth.
No.
His knee pads are already like 4 inches thick, so he doesn't have a lot of room for that. But they put on a good match. I was happy with it. Right at the end, when he went into the Judas effect and spun around and hit with the elbow, it was clean.
Yeah. Very good sell from Paige there, too.
And he just keeps reinventing himself. Because he did go into the walls of Jericho, but now it's like everybody kicks out of a Boston Crab. So it's like, I think he's very smart as a wrestler to.
I think he's using the walls now to set up his finisher. He knows that's how you fatigue the other guy, and that gets them weary, and then you end them.
Yep.
So yeah, like you said, guy keeps reinventing himself. He's the very first AEW champion. And that's all we're going to talk about here for AEW this week. We're going to go right in.
Well, I don't know.
Wait, what do you got to say? You got something else?
He did lose the belt.
I don't know if anybody saw this. I think it was at a Texas Roadhouse.
Yeah, he like got dropped off at a Texas Roadhouse or something. And tried calling the limo to get it back, and
Do you
was
think it was
gone.
at work?
I don't know. The Tallahassee Police Department recovered it.
I'm curious if that's a work, because that's a good way to get more eyes on the product. Oh, the very first champion just lost his belt.
But wouldn't you think that's like irresponsible? I don't know. I don't know if that would be the push that I would want. Like Jericho just won and cared about it so much that he lost it or something. But it was interesting.
Yeah, definitely interesting. But yeah, this week in WWE is what we're going to get into right now. Let's start with last week's Monday Night Raw. I know we're getting really close to tomorrow's Monday Night Raw as we're recording this on September 8th, 2019. The opening segment was a contract signing mediated by Michael Cole himself, then interrupted by the United States champion AJ Styles, which then would lead to a tag match and a post-match beatdown from the club. And our guys, I'm going to say our guys because we're a very pro Dolph Ziggler, Robert Roode podcast.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
So, the overall thoughts on the opening segment for Monday Night Raw?
I liked it. AJ actually made some good points as he was coming out and talking. Like, is that all you have to do is like look at a belt and you get a title shot? So I think they're being very aware of some of the happenings. You know, the way they had Braun act. Like, people aren't dumb, and I like that AJ commented on that. It was a good match that was immediately wiped away to show the strength of the OC. And then our boys showed up, kept the beatdown going.
They
now,
still don't have matching trunks or, a theme song. We got to get that for them. They got a title match this Sunday coming up, one week from today.
Boy, if their tights aren't right, I'm going to be mad.
Tuck's going to be very angry. You don't like him when he's angry.
# triggered Tuck. You don't want that. But it was good. I was fine with that. And, Stone Cold commented, and I guess he's going to try to mediate it next time. And the last time a Hall of Famer was in the ring.
We're really glad that you're our friend. This is a friendship that'll never, ever end.
Let me in.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so I honestly thought with AJ coming out here, they're kind of hinting towards a triple threat, but it looks like they're staying away from that.
That's where I thought they were going to go right away too, but I kind of hope they don't.
I kind of hope they do.
Really?
Because, you have...
They're putting all the belts in the mixer and what?
Well, you need a heel in that match, I feel like, because right now you're working Strowman as a face and Rollins as a face, and they're also tag team champions together.
That's true.
I get the whole dynamic. That's the draw of this match. They are champions together, but they're also fighting for another belt. But I feel like if you add AJ in there, he could eat a pinfall. That way you don't book Strowman to lose here, and then, he can go off and do whatever else he's going to do after that. But I don't know. That's what I thought they were leading to here. It obviously just led to the OC going over strong and beating the shit out of them after the match. But then we had Baron Corbin and Cedric Alexander in King of the Ring action. And this is a match that a lot of people are actually talking about. A very good match. In my opinion, probably the best work I've seen from Baron Corbin.
He wrestled.
Yeah, that's a rarity.
Like a decent match, because I was trying to poop on it as I was like live tweeting and stuff like that. I was trying to take a dump.
Were you
on
actually
it.
dumping when the match was going on?
No, I was watching it straight up.
Oh, okay.
Not
fair enough.
With my shorts on.
Okay.
But I mentioned about Vogus's bracket, and then I started watching the match, and I'm like, well, he's going to win here. It looked good against a smaller guy. Cedric looked very strong as well. And Corbin won, and I wasn't like really mad about it.
That's a good way of describing it, because I wasn't mad about it either. And that's weird, because usually when you push Corbin down my throat, I'm like, oh,
it's
this
this
stupid.
slimy, greasy feeling, and it feels like you went to bed without taking a shower kind of thing.
I think you touched on it too. Cedric being kind of a smaller guy that helps Baron in the ring.
Yeah, I think he oversold it a few spots. Like
who, Cedric?
Yeah, like he got hit in the shoulder. He was like, "Oh my god, oh my god!" Like,
shout out to Cedric.
There we go.
Right there.
But it was a good match, and Corbin won, and I was more like, "Huh, all right, Baron."
I mean, I wanted Cedric to win, obviously, but very good finisher. I'm going to credit Vogus once again. He said the end of days that he does is one of his favorite moves, if not his favorite finisher. He hit that very crisp on Cedric, and that was it. And Baron Corbin advances in the King of the Ring tournament.
They had some good sequences. I applaud Baron Corbin. Congrats.
Big fan of this King of the Ring. I feel like it's giving a lot of
television
meaningful matches.
Those matches are decent, and I don't know if the talent's thinking this like. This is a huge showcase for me. But Chad Gable, Cedric Alexander, Baron
Buddy
Corbin,
Murphy.
they did the interesting booking with Ricochet and Joe. I thought it was just going to be kind of like the tag team turmoil thing, where it just happened and it was
just a way to get people.
Here's
on
a
TV.
reason why we're doing these matches and take. But I've actually looked forward to seeing the matchups after the first round, and I hope they don't. I hope winning it means something.
I think that's the direction they're going with this. Because if you look at the guys that are left, as Joe and Ricochet are still in it, they were in another match here in the quarterfinals, and it ended in a draw because they both had hands on one another. So there's a triple threat against Corbin. I think all the guys that are left are being built for something big, which is something they need to do for sure, because the last King of the Ring winner was Wade Barrett. I don't know if you've ever heard that name before, because it might have been before your time.
Nope.
He was King Barrett, the Bad News Barrett.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he always came out and he had like a lift or whatever, and he had like, what is that thing called where the judge has?
A gavel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
Oh, jeez.
And he had the crown and everything. So, I think they're wanting to do a lot better than what they did with Wade Barrett there. And you got Joe, Ricochet, and Corbin now in a triple threat match in Madison Square Garden tomorrow. That's going to be very good.
It's going to be solid. Yep. I look forward to it. The thing that frustrated me was like the ref went right away and got this like I hope they don't do the replay crap, because it's going to handcuff the shit out of them in some of those spots. I immediately thought of the Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns cage match.
Yeah.
You couldn't.
Where was that? That was a Saudi show, wasn't it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You couldn't like call for review on that. So I hope that it was like a thing. I hope they don't make it like a permanent thing.
Did you see my tweet about it
No.
on my personal account? Make sure you follow me at 2SweetKyle. Woo! That's right. Cheap plug right there. But I said, I wonder if they're doing this whole review process because they're making the move to Fox.
Oh,
and you know how sports
I did.
have the
Yep.
review like go under the booth. I don't know if that's where they're going with this at all, but I also didn't like it seemed a little weird. But
so do it all the time or do it never.
I think if you did it all the time, it would be like when you're watching football, and now that you can call,
it would have to be so tight. The wrestling would have to be so tight. The officiating would have to. There would be very little. I think it's tough. I get it.
Mess up
in this little vacuum here. Sure. I wish the ref would not have went over to the headset. I wish someone would have come out and told him
another ref.
Yeah, something. I wish it would have been forced upon him and not made it look like it was his decision to act and ask, because then someone in the back said, no, this is what it's going to be. And we're going to, but for him to call, I felt like, well, if that's the option for every ref, but it could build in more personality with some of the refs. like I'm not going to call for a review. My call stands.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It could make it. Just don't do it.
I was going to say, if we're really critiquing the refs right now, that's when you know it's probably doing too much there for sure. But another thing that happened, The Fiend, he had another episode of the Firefly Funhouse, and he basically just straight up addressed the Hell in the Cell rumors that we discussed on episode 1, that he is challenging Braun Strowman or Seth Rollins in a Hell in a Cell match. It's happening, people. It's happening.
I can't wait. I don't care what it looks like. I don't know what's going to happen. But to me, whoever those guys are a little bit safer for a loss if they pair him with the Undertaker. I don't really want to see him go up against the Undertaker.
Not yet, that is
right. Like
it's too soon.
Don't put him up against the Demon because that's another power, and I don't want to see him against a freaking jobber. So strong opponents that can take a loss. I don't know. I'm excited.
Yeah, and it was a very good episode of the Firefly Funhouse. The way that he has just so many layers to this character, and it's so intellectually smart, and I love it. And I think there's no way you can book him to lose at Hell in a Cell.
My wife loves to hate him. It's this guy. Oh, it's this guy.
You got Mr. Watching now?
That's the way we spend time together. She does watch. She's not as nearly as active. She's got 0 tickets for the Survivor Series weekend. Doesn't really want to go and do that, but. If I'm watching, I'm like, hey, I'm watching it downstairs. She'll come down and watch. She reads a little bit, but she watches with me. But whenever The Fiend comes on, she's like, I don't. She always, it's like a car wreck.
Right.
She watches it. She doesn't like it.
Yeah, but us marks that know what's going on. It's the best character on TV right now.
I don't like him. I don't like the mask, this or that. And then, like, when we're just driving in a car and I play his theme song randomly, and she's like,
a little weird.
Why are you just playing? I'm like, it's good.
And you got to Snapchat it, too, to all your wrestling fans. You can't just listen to The Fiend's entrance music and not snap it. Then it didn't happen. Those are the rules. I just made them up right there.
Okay.
So, yeah, and then the show ended with something that a lot of people are talking about. Not a lot of people saw it coming, but Bayley finally turns heel to end Monday Night Raw, standing in the ring with Sasha Banks, and it's about damn time, Tuck.
I'm thrilled about it. I was emotionally tuning out, like sending it in. I thought they were just going to leave it with this image of like Bayley taking the chair and like almost like
tease it,
cautioning Sasha, like, you don't have to do that, Sash. But
is that Bayley's voice?
No, not at all.
Oh,
and then she swung, and I'm sitting there like with the face, I was happy. I was happy it happened.
Yeah, I've been very critical of Bayley ever since her NXT days. I mean, she's had fantastic matches. I mean, she's part of the 4 horsewomen, Charlotte, Becky, Bayley, and Sasha, and they basically are what helped build the women's revolution here. But Bayley always seemed to be the oddball out for me because the character was too cookie cutter.
It was very, very vanilla. Yep.
Yeah, and like the whole hugging thing, like a guy that's 26 years old, I'm talking about myself, I really just can't seem to get emotionally invested into, I'm a hugger.
Yeah.
That's about it. That's her gimmick.
Yep.
Now she has this edge. She's kind of Sasha's like side piece here, even though they're both, I mean, Bayley's the champion, but Sasha probably will be a champion. But I like it. It's about time. After all these years of her being a babyface, let's see what she can do as a heel.
And a lot of times I think when they become a heel, their character can come out a little bit more.
Yeah.
They have a little
Less
bit more
boundaries.
freedom to. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I am also excited to see how it goes.
Yeah, they continued that momentum too by opening up SmackDown the next day with Bayley, basically just explaining her actions on why she did it. And I've always been critical about Bayley's promos. It still, to me, wasn't that fantastic of a promo.
She got through it.
Yeah, she did. And, I guess that's the way you should kick off SmackDown. But, man, we really got to make Bayley a bad bitch.
Yeah.
Because she needs to work on being very bad like Sasha is. She's the boss. Just channel your inner Sasha Banks here, Bayley. Come on.
She's your best friend. Get a few pointers. You can do it.
Yeah, it's a very good point. So, yeah, I mean, the opening segment didn't do it for me. Not a big fan, but I'm going to give Bayley time to develop that character a little bit, which then led us to Elias and Ali quarterfinal action. For some reason, I was really invested in this match because I really am a big fan of Ali. He's a Chicago guy, close to our home here.
Yep.
I like the character. It's very, very babyface.
Yep.
But Elias gets the win here. In my opinion, that was surprising. I don't know if that was shocking to you or thoughts on this, quarterfinal matchup here.
As the jaded fan, I wasn't that surprised that they had Elias win, but I also wanted Ali. If it's Elias and Corbin in the finals,
there's a lot of heels left.
I know.
You got Joe, Corbin, Elias, and Chad Gable. So, yeah, it's 3 out of the 5.
Oh, I thought you were calling Chad Gable a heel. I'm like,
no.
Dude, he's just getting bullied.
Yeah. That's Shorty Gable right there.
Hey, but can wrestle. He's been wrestling.
He definitely has been. He was wrestling against one of the top guys right now in the WWE, Andrade, who's been very hot. A lot of people's pick to win the King of the Ring. Gable gets a push here. He goes over Andrade. The crowd, it was a good crowd all night, too, and they really were behind Gable. And that's exactly, if you're sitting in the back right now, you're Vince, you're like, oh, my God, this is working. This Chad Gable thing might work.
Yeah, it's like when you're a coach or you put the one kid in and you're like, this is going to be a train wreck, and he's actually decent for that one day, and you're like, okay, all right, we'll keep it going. Yeah, I'm glad he's getting a little bit of a push because he is a solid wrestler. I enjoy watching him.
Yeah, his work with American Alpha and NXT with Jason Jordan, who no longer wrestles, I was always a big fan of them. I was there when they won their SmackDown tag titles at the Allstate Arena on a SmackDown in December one time. Always been a big fan of his. Didn't know he'd be able to work as a singles competitor, but I think this whole, it's very Kurt Angle-ish. Mm-hmm. They're booking him and building him kind of like they did with Kurt Angle, showing that he has that comedy side, too. He's not just this wrestler, pure wrestler that, was in the Olympics like Kurt Angle. But overall, Gable goes over. I'm very happy with it. Don't be surprised if he picks up the win over Elias and goes to the championship. Just saying that right now. Spoiler alert.
I would agree.
Like Paul Heyman. This is a spoiler alert.
Yeah. What is his actual phrase? This is
not a prediction.
No, it's a spoiler.
This is a spoiler.
Yeah, it's not a prediction. It's not a prediction. It's a spoiler. Yeah.
Now somebody's going to clip this when Elias beats Gable and be like, "Man, Kyle's an idiot." At Too Sweet Kyle sucks balls.
At Too Sweet Kyle, you suck.
It's a very good ad, don't you think?
Yeah.
Too Sweet Kyle.
I like it.
I was trying to think of something very wrestling related, and that's what I landed on there. So, last thing I kind of want to talk about here. No, not the last thing. Second to last thing. Fire and Desire. They defeated the women's tag team champions. If you don't know who that is, it's Mandy Rose. It's Sonya Deville. They have been an established tag team ever since they got the call up, and now they're getting a championship shot at Clash of Champions. Is Fire and Desire a legit threat, you think, to win those tag belts?
Nope.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I don't think they've built them up long enough heading into the pay-per-view to put the titles on them. But now that they're trying to throw curveballs every week, maybe they will win.
I think, too, they just changed the titles with Bliss and Cross, so it might be too early to pull the trigger with Fire and Desire.
I know Otis was in the back having a day, though.
He was like, "Hey, Mandy, how you doing, baby?
Looking good, Mandy." Yes.
I'm surprised they're not being put on TV more. But no, I like Mandy Rose and Sonya, like I said, they've been together for a while. I think eventually pulling the trigger on them, it could work, because, Mandy's the perfect heel. She looks like $1 million. Mm-hmm. Not a bad wrestler. She's going to get heat.
Yep.
So you put the belts on them, they'll probably get heat, but it's probably too soon to pull the trigger there. But nonetheless, probably a pre-show match at Clash of Champions.
Probably, yep.
Yeah. So the show closed with Rowan and Roman. Again, that storyline, that is a match for Clash of Champions. I know it's going to get very confusing when I say Roman and Rowan.
I think I can help in the Pam dilemma.
Yeah, that'd be great. If you don't know what that is, that's a Step Brothers reference there. But Rowan was booked strong here to end the show. I thought this was basically their way of saying, okay, we got to make Rowan look credible going against Roman Reigns at Clash of Champions. So we're going to push him strong on SmackDown, but when Clash of Champions comes around, Roman Reigns is going to go over.
Yeah, I hope it's a good match.
I'm worried about it.
It brings me back to the Roman Reigns Jinder Mahal thing, where that could be the intermission for people.
Yeah, it might get shit on.
There hasn't been enough motive invested. Why did he? I don't know why. Why would he care to do that to Roman Reigns of all people and stuff like that? So, he said, I'm not going to be, and telling Daniel Bryan to slap him.
Yeah, that's the weird part.
He did look tough, but I don't care.
You don't care about? Is it the whole feud, or is it just the Rowan edition of?
No, I got mad. I got mad when I watched 2 hours for them to unveil another Rowan.
That was kind of dumb.
Get the hell.
This is all leading to Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns.
And he looked strong, and I believed him when he.
You're talking about Rowan, that is, right?
No, Daniel. When he walked out,
Daniel.
I don't tell a lie. I didn't know. The conviction and the way he said it, I believed him. So I like Daniel Bryan still.
Oh, yeah. His heel work has just been absolutely fantastic. And you can tell they care about this feud because it's closed the last 2 SmackDowns. So obviously this is a big thing headed towards, the eventual Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan match. But, overall, I liked Raw more than SmackDown this week. I thought, Raw had a lot more build to the stories. That's why it led to a lot of these matches we're going to be seeing tomorrow.
Yep.
So overall, I'm going to give Raw the win. I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to compare Raw and SmackDown.
Ooh.
I'm giving Raw the win this week.
I'm going to agree. Yeah.
You know what?
Two dubs for Raw.
I think I just invented something for our show.
There we go.
Let us know if you like that. We're going to, keep a tally going. So Raw wins for this week.
So does it get 1 point or 2 points? We each voted for Raw. So does that
2.
get 2 points? Because then it could be we could be going into the next show tied 1-1.
Yeah, let's do it.
Now it's 2-0 Raw. Okay.
I'm totally down for that. So Raw is up 2-0 in our Raw versus SmackDown showdown here.
Boom.
At the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast. The last thing I want to talk about that happened last week that you didn't quite catch is NXT. And honestly, you didn't miss much here, Tuck. We had Breezango. They defeated a Canadian jobber team.
Cool.
Just a way to, show, hey, Breezango's a thing.
They're here.
Yeah,
Still here.
Exactly. And then you had the Dream go against Kona Reeves. Have you ever seen Kona Reeves work?
No.
He's the finest. That's the gimmick. So he doesn't really look like the finest wrestler.
Does he have a phrase? Does he say?
Yeah, he's just like NXT's finest. And his song's like, ain't nobody told you I'm the finest.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just like that.
All
But
right.
and he kind of like flamboyant a little bit. Not a big Kona Reeves guy. I know only a few people probably are. But the Dream goes over here. And then afterwards, Roderick Strong was on the screen. So it looks like they're still building to that potential match. Because I wouldn't be surprised, Tuck, come, when we go live here in a week or two, the Undisputed Era is holding all the gold. That's all they need is Roderick Strong.
Come on, Rod.
So, yeah, maybe that's a match that happens on the September 18th, the very first live NXT show on the USA Network. How excited are you for that?
I am actually excited. Hopefully I can find the time to keep up with all the shows.
Well, I'll tell you what, you won't have to debate between AEW and NXT for the first 2 weeks of NXT
I do
live.
have 2 TVs downstairs too, so
Ooh.
I can do both. I don't know how that'll work, but I'm excited. After the AEW show, I'm far more invested in AEW than I was before, and that's good, I guess. We'll see how it goes.
I think that's a good way to get people more into wrestling. Send them to a live event. If you're not sure about it, if you've seen it on TV, you're like, this is kind of interesting. I always recommend people go to a live event. See how you like it,
Yeah. Go to a live show, maybe not a TV taping. Some of those matches can drag on a little bit, but like if you could get a ticket to All Out for $50 and you were questioning, I don't know if I'll do it. I got $50 to throw around. You would have left happy. Even if you didn't know anybody. I didn't really know anyone. And I'm glad that I went, and the wrestling was tight. Good wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to keep watching.
Yeah, I've probably been to, I want to say, about 12 live events in my life. I can honestly say there's only been one time where I didn't enjoy my time at an event. It was a Raw that literally just happened, I think, in Chicago last year. I think the coolest thing that happened was Kurt Angle came out for his last match, and I forgot who he beat.
Yeah.
It might have been Chad Gable. I'm not 100%. This was last year, 2018.
Yep.
But I left that show because it was the road. No, it was this year, 2019. The road to WrestleMania. Because I remember, all right, this is the third to last Raw before WrestleMania.
Something's got to get
This
popping.
is going to be good. And I left like, well, this is dumb. But usually you're going to have a very entertaining time going to live events. So if any wrestling comes in your area, I recommend buying the ticket, sack up, go watch some wrestling.
Yep.
Next thing I want to talk about, though, is the main event that happened on NXT. Adam Cole versus the NXT Breakout Tournament winner, Jordan Myles. Solid showing for Myles here. I like how they made a tournament here in NXT to showcase some of their newest signings. I think Jordan Myles has potential to be a solid piece on NXT, especially now that they're going to a 2-hour show. Have you seen any of Jordan Myles' work?
Nope.
Yeah, he's a very happy guy. He's a true baby face, and he's good to his character, but they didn't totally squash him here, which I think is a smart way to do it against your NXT champion. Showcase his talent, and then eventually Adam Cole wins. But like I said, it felt like an episode just kind of to get by until the USA Network here.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's probably the smart way to do it. Don't do anything too exciting. You got 2 weeks, and then you could showcase it to the live audience on the USA Network. But I'm not sure 100% on what they have advertised for that show, but you got to expect it to be a title match or two.
Oh, yeah, you have to draw eyes, and then, or you're going to at least start setting something up for 2 weeks later. Wait,
is there an NXT takeover coming up?
No, for when
AEW
goes live
them.
2 or 3 weeks later. Is that the night that they have it popping, where big match? I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it is true. I didn't even think about that. Maybe they use those 2 weeks to build to something big.
Or are they going to punt it?
Also not a dumb idea. I don't hate that because you got to...
I feel like they won't. I feel like...
It's Vince.
But here's the thing.
It's
like
Triple H, actually.
They act like AEW's not even on their radar. And it's not a threat. And right now with their current... I don't know that it is. I think both can occupy both spaces and keep wrestling fans very happy.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you'll tell NXT and WWE's thoughts on AEW the way they book that show.
Yeah.
And if it's popping with title matches, they obviously give a shit. They obviously care about keeping their eyes off of AEW. If they punt it, it's business as usual kind of thing where they're not even worried, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's definitely something to look out for. I didn't even think about that. It's some expert analysis, if you will, from you, Tucky, right there. But I got a couple things I want to touch on that's going to be happening here in the next couple of days. If you're listening at a later date, it might have already happened. So
you're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome for this. But the 4 horsewomen are facing off in tag team action tomorrow night on Monday Night Raw. You got Becky Lynch and Charlotte going up against Bayley and Sasha. And also on Raw, we have Cedric Alexander versus AJ Styles.
That's going to be a good one.
Are they kind of, maybe setting up a feud here with Cedric and AJ?
Well,
because AJ doesn't have anyone right now.
He needs somebody, and Cedric can wrestle. We'll see. I think it's going to be a good match.
And you know where they're, having these next 2 shows at? MSG. And they love to have a big show at Madison Square Garden. Which is why the Rattlesnake's coming tomorrow night.
My friend Steven Austin is making an appearance.
Confirmed friends?
Yes.
I didn't know that. Yeah, the glass is going to shatter and all that.
Not friends at all. I've never even been in the same building as him, so I cannot confirm him as a best friend.
I think he is the one guy that I have avoided seeing live that's like a superstar. I've seen The Undertaker, seen Triple H, seen Brock Lesnar. Yeah, never seen Stone Cold. Or The Rock. Damn it. I want to see The Rock, too, one more time.
Yep.
You got to think, man, maybe eventually The Rock will have one more match. But yeah, Stone Cold, he's going to be running the contract signing. A lot of people are throwing out the idea of maybe The Fiend coming at Stone Cold. What do you think about that?
I hope not.
I think it ruins the Stone Cold character.
Someone's heart's going to break. You're either going to see The Fiend get a stunner.
You can't do that. You can't. No way. I'll be pissed.
Or you see the Rattlesnake get bit.
And I think people will get pissed at that, too, because
I know
it's Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like, oh, that's a tough spot. But
I hope they just flicker the lights.
What are the odds that this happens if we're making odds here? I'd say it's 50-50.
Wow, that's a hot take.
I like to play the middle ground here.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope they tease it, but don't. Please don't. I don't want it.
It would make sense, though, because the next pay-per-view, Hell in a Cell, Fiend facing off against Strowman or Rollins. Why not?
Contract signing.
Yeah.
Stone Cold's there.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
Just don't mess up. I'm going to plug Mikey's show again. Book it better, WWE. Let's be smart.
Or what if the Fiend does a run-in, goes after Stone Cold, avoids Stone Cold, smashes Rollins or Strowman or something? I don't know.
No, very possible.
You win that way. I don't want to see the Fiend and Stone Cold get into it.
And then everybody's going to be like,
well, because he's got to be smart to it, because they already made Jerry the King Lawler smart to it. Like, I know what's going on. I'm getting out of here. It still didn't work, but like,
yeah.
So
now I get what
now
you're saying.
It's not a new thing. When when the lights go out or start flickering, He's got to be aware of it. He's been watching the product. Apparently, he's
tweeting along all the time now.
He's got to come to this signing. He's the only one that can do it. Michael Cole didn't have the balls to get it done.
You got to have the rattlesnake go in there. He hasn't been to
100%.
Madison Square Garden in 20 years or something like that.
The pop in that place.
Ooh, he's going to get a big pop, as will The Undertaker, who is confirmed for SmackDown Live. Don't know why. I don't.
Okay.
What is there to do with The Undertaker? Do you have any ideas here? Like, what's the purpose? Just because he's in Madison Square Garden?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Or is that where the Fiend comes out? And they tease that for possible WrestleMania down the road. There's so many possibilities with the Fiend because he doesn't have anything right now, technically.
That makes me scared. It makes me scared for the bookers and the writers because he is wide open.
They're going to be tempted.
Yep.
So,
and they've done a good job being patient. The Firefly Funhouses are enough. Like when they tease it, I am not leaving the room until I get through that segment. Cross your fingers.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with Stone Cold and The Undertaker, that they're going to be on live shows this week in the WWE. Very excited for it. Wasn't a bad week of wrestling last week. Very content with all that happened.
Yeah, I was as well too, and with both of us live streaming or live tweeting as much as we can, getting out and interacting. If you read one of our tweets and have a reaction to it, why don't you respond, friends?
You know what? I'm going to do a secret listener giveaway right now. If you are listening to this podcast at this very moment, go and tag Pod on the Mark on Twitter and hashtag Kyle's giveaway. And I will put you in the drawing for an AJ Styles figure.
Okay.
All you have to do is tweet at the show, hashtag Kyle's giveaway. I want to see how many of you are actually listening to the very end of this show, and I'm going to reward you for listening this long, and you might win an AJ Styles figure. So, yeah, boom, that just happened.
That's a phenomenal giveaway.
Oh, what a way to end the show, Doug. What a way.
All right. We will we'll be coming at you on we will be recording on Wednesday.
Might come out Thursday.
You're going to get it Thursday morning most
sure.
likely as we preview Clash of Champions with Aaron Oros.
Hopefully. Can't confirm 100%, but you will be hearing us too.
You will get the best of the best from at Pot on the Mark, and maybe joined by a friend to give our thoughts on Clash of Champions and rehash Raw and SmackDown. So keep tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow. Today, yesterday,
Friday.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to the On the Mark podcast.
Brock Lesnar going for an F5 to Cena for the championship. Lesnar with the cover.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. For more information and updates, make sure to follow us on Twitter at Pod on the Mark. Pod on the Mark.